back to the class. This is your host JK. Today we are going to discuss about design process of rope drives. What we have discussed in the previous lecture. Similarly, in the design process of rope drive also some steps are involved here. Let's see what are they. The first one is design load. How we are going to find out the design load here? The design load is denoted by P suffix D, that is equal to PR in N into KD. That means the design load, it is nothing but the product of specified load into what is the factor of safety and as well as the duty factor. The three product is called design load. N is the factor of safety and KD is the duty factor here. So how we are consider the factor of safety and as well as the duty factor. Specified load is provided in the given condition. That means based on the applications. So how much amount of load we are going to carry with the help of rope drive. That load we know given the based on the given conditions, but we doesn't know what is the factor of safety for that load condition and as well as what is the duty factor acting upon that rope wire. So that's why based on the given load condition and as well as the applications, we are going to consider the factor of safety and duty factor. For that purpose, we prefer the design data book. So go to the design data book. In the old edition of design data handbook, rope drives indicates the 24th chapter. Okay, let's see. These are the design steps what we are going to derive here. And these are also design steps here. Okay, next to see how we consider the factor of safety and duty factor. So for that purpose of factor of safety and duty factor, we are going to prefer the table number 24.4. In the table number 24.4, using the applications, for example, see here a fixed guys auxiliary applications. It is the one of the applications of rope wire and hoisting systems, lift cranes, cranes and hoistings in general hot ladle cranes and mining installations. So these are the different type of applications. Based on the given applications, we are going to consider the factor of safety and as well as the duty factor for that given applications. Okay, this is about the consideration of factor of safety and duty factor. So when we know the factor of safety and duty factor, it is easy to find out the design load. Okay, when we know the design load, next we are going to find out the diameter of rope. So how we are find out the diameter of rope? We already discussed. We know the what is the need of that rope wire. We are going to design that rope wire for which type of applications. Based on that applications, first of all, prefer the table number 24.1, general properties of rope. By using this table, using the applications of rope wire, mines are see here different type of applications are here. For example, here I am consider the hoisting ropes or cargo cranes, quarries, different type of applications. So based on these applications, select the type of rope. Here we have a different type of ropes: 6 into 7, 6 into 19, 6 into 37 and 8 into 19. So these are the different type of ropes. So based on the application, select the suitable wire rope for that applications. Using this type of rope, prefer the table number 24.5 or 24.6 or 24.7 because For example, here I am considered the rope type 6 into 7. For that type of 6 into 7, if you find out your table number 24.5 indicates the 6 into 7 wire rope. In this condition, consider the load condition. The P equal to, for example, 0.53 d square here. In case of high load condition, P equal to 0.6 d square. Here the P is nothing but the design load. By equating this design load, we get the diameter of the rope. So this is the way to find out the diameter of rope here. Let's see that one. First of all, we are going to select the type of rope. By using the type, we are going to find out the diameter of rope from the tables 24.5 or 24.6, 24.7 based on type of rope. So this is about the how we are going to find out the diameter of rope. When we know the diameter of rope, we are going to find out the general properties of rope wire. Let's see how we are going to find out the general properties of rope wire. So in the general properties of rope wire, mainly we are going to focus on, first one is the diameter of wire. Diameter of wire. So how we are consider the diameter of wire here? So same table what we had discussed in the previous table number 24, using the general properties table. Based on the applications, in case of 6 into 7 or in case of 6 into 19, whatever. So given the applications, select the suitable rope wire for that. And in this condition, if you find out the what is the diameter of rope wire here, and as well as what is the area of the rope also is here. And after that, it is also mandatory to find out the drum or pulley diameter in case of minimum condition or in case of maximum condition. By using these conditions, we are going to find out the general properties of rope wire. So this is about the another step here. Diameter of wire and as well as area of rope, and finally drum and pulley diameter. So these all are find out with the help of table number 24.1 based on the type of rope. So based on the type of rope, we are going to find out these all parameters. And one more thing is here, each and every parameter is depending upon the diameter of rope. So this is about the another step here. And next one, when we know the diameter of rope and as well as area of rope and drum and pulley diameters, when we know that these all parameters, we are going to find out the remaining requirements of rope wire. Let's see what are they. Effective load acting on rope wire. So it is the important step here, effective load acting on the rope wire. it is based on the three conditions. That effective load is acting on the three different conditions during the working condition, and as well as during starting condition of the rope, and as well as due to accelerating condition. So based on these three conditions, we are going to find out the what is the effective load acting on the rope. Let's see that one. Here the first one is during the normal condition, normal working condition. So what is the effective load acting on the rope? That effective load acting on the rope is defined by, shown by F, that is equal to Ft plus Fb. So it is the form to find out the what is the effective load acting on the rope during normal working condition. Here what about the Ft and as well as Fb? Here that Ft is the what is the direct tensile load acting on the rope. Then Ft is the and Fb is the what is the bending load acting on the rope. So how we are going to find out the Ft and Fb here? So that Ft equal to
P plus
W into L. So it is the form to find out the what is the Ft or direct tensile load acting on the rope. Here we know that P or PR is the specified load. What is the load is provided in the problem, and after that, what about the W here? The W indicates here what is the weight of rope acting on the 1 meter length condition, and here L is equal to length of the rope or height of the rope. So this is about that. Here we know each and every parameter. It is easy to find out the what is the direct tensile load acting on the rope. And next we are going to find out the bending load. How we are going to find out the bending load here? So that is equal to what is the area of the rope into diameter of wire by drum or pulley minimum diameter into Ezi. So that Ezi is the standard value here, that is equal to 0.8 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton per mm square. So this is about the during normal working condition what is the load acting on the rope. And next we are going to find out the during acceleration condition. So what is the load acting on the rope? Let's see that one. See the next one. During the acceleration of load condition, what is the effective load acting on the rope? So let's see that one. So it is also denoted by F, that is equal to Ft plus Fb plus Fa. Here we know Ft is the direct tensile load acting on the rope. It is already derived in the previous step. And next Fb is the direct bending stress acting on the rope, and after that Fa is the load due to acceleration or force due to acceleration, whatever it means. So how we are going to find out the Fa? That Fa equal to Ft into acceleration by gravity. So here how we are going to find out the acceleration? That acceleration, it is nothing but the speed of the rope or velocity of the rope divided by what is the time taken for that speed. So this is the form to find out the Fa. Here we know what is the Ft. We are already derived the Ft. With the help of velocity to time, we get the acceleration. When we know the acceleration, it is easy to find out the Fa. So this is about the load due to acceleration condition. Go to the next step, that is equal to during starting condition. During starting of row, so what is the load acting here? So that F equal to FST plus FB, bending load acting on the row. And what about the FST? Here that FST is the load or force acting during starting condition. The force during starting of row. So how we are going to find out this FST? So that is equal to 2 times of FT. Here we know the what is the value of Ft. When we know the Ft, it is easy to find out the FST. With the help of this FST, we are going to find out the during starting of row what is the load acting on the row. So this is about the one more step in the design of row. Go to the next one, that is the resultant induced stress acting on the row. So resultant induced stress acting on the row. Here also we have now 3 conditions, same as what we have discussed in the effective load condition. The first one is the during normal walking. So during the normal walking, it is denoted by, we are going to find out the stress, that sigma equal to sigma t plus sigma b. Let's see here how we are going to find out the sigma t. First of all, here that sigma t is the tensile stress. So that sigma t equal to Ft by area of the row. So this is the form. Here we know what is the Ft. We are already derived in the previous step. And next one, what is the sigma b? Here the sigma b is the bending stress. And sigma b equal to Fv by area of the row. We are already find out the starting step, area of the row, with the help of type of the row. We know the area and we know Fb. With the help of this ratio, we get the bending stress acting on the row. So this is the first step in the resultant induced stress. And go to the next one. During acceleration of load. So during the acceleration of load, sigma equal to sigma t plus sigma b plus sigma a. As usual, here we are already find out the sigma t, that is the tensile stress, and sigma b is the bending stress. What about the sigma a here? The sigma a is the acceleration here. So how we are going to find out the sigma a? That is equal to Fa by area of the row. Here we know what is the Fa and as well as area of the row. With the help of this ratio, we get the sigma a. So this is about the second step in the resultant induced stress. Go to the third one. During starting of row, that sigma equal to sigma st plus sigma b. Here we know sigma b is the bending stress, and what about the sigma st? Stress during the starting of row. How we are going to find out this one? 2 into sigma t times. 2 into sigma t times. Here we know the sigma t, we are already find out that one. When we know this one, it is easy to find out the during starting of the rope what is the resultant induced stress acting on the rope. So these are the design steps involved in the design of rope. So with the help of this design process, we are going to design a proper and as well as the most efficient rope drives for different type of applications. So this is about the today class. In the next class, we are going to solve one model problem related to design of rope wires. Thank you. If you have any queries regarding this lecture, please comment in comment box, and thank you for your watching.